Hey guys, it's Annie Margarita Yang back with another video for you today. Today is Monday, January 22nd, and today I want to explain to you how you can get inside your interviewer's head. How do you understand the interviewer more than the interviewer understands himself when it comes to your job search? And this was inspired by Allison's comment. So she left a comment on my video last week about how your competition can't even answer the phone. I'm going to read to you her comment, and then I'm going to give advice specifically for Allison because she said she wants to start a bookkeeping company. She wrote, "Sorry to leave a second comment, but I'm so glad you shared that story about the 50 bookkeeping companies in Fort Lauderdale. I have been thinking about trying to have my own bookkeeping business, but I was worried that the market was saturated. As soon as you said there were 50 companies, I was like, oh my God, that's so many. I really shouldn't bother trying to start a business. But when only 3 to 5 companies were even giving you the time of day, that really opened my eyes. Even if the market seems saturated, it doesn't mean that you can't compete if you're doing even the bare minimum of responding to email and answering a phone call. I don't know why I get so pessimistic about everything. I know I can put in the work and outshine the competition." So Allison, you're in luck. I have some advice for you in starting your own bookkeeping business and how to speak to potential clients. What I'm about to share with Allison can actually be applied in your job search when you're talking to interviewers, because 80% of successfully closing a sale, whether it's a freelance client for bookkeeping or for you to land a job, really comes from the prep work before you even walk into the interviewer's room and speak to them. And that is really understanding the psyche. So basically, I want you to get so good at propaganda. The key to successful propaganda is really to understand the person more than he understands himself. And that's to the point where when you speak to this person, that person gets so excited and says, "Oh my God, it is literally like you took the words straight out of my mouth before I even said it." So you want to get to that point where you speak the words out of his mouth before he even says it. And I have a method that I personally invented. This is a strategy I invented. I have not found it anywhere else on the internet. I was inspired to do this from Ramit Sethi's Earn 1K on the Side course. He said that you have to really know your customer, but he didn't give much advice in his course on how to really know your customer. So when I was doing my homework during his course, I figured, okay, maybe I can really know my customer by interviewing the actual customer, but not trying to sell them anything. Like, for example, I wanted to offer bookkeeping for real estate investors. Maybe I can actually interview real estate investors and see for myself. But after interviewing one of them, I realized that people are not fully transparent. They're not fully honest about their problems, like, because you're really trying to understand what people are struggling with. What are their pain points? What drives them crazy? What frustrates them? What keeps them up at night? And a lot of people, unless they're actually in the moment of their struggle, they won't be able to fully verbalize what it is that they're struggling with. It's not their fault. It's just that it's so much easier to describe your problem when you're in the midst of your problem than once you've overcome your problem. So this, guys, don't write off this video simply because you're not trying to start a bookkeeping company. This works for anything. What I'm about to show you is something that you can do for anything. Like, literally, let me give you an example. So right now I'm trying to help job seekers, right? I don't have any trouble landing a job. I don't really understand people's struggle, right? But I have to get really good at understanding what your struggles really are. So I have to really understand your psyche. And it has to be to the point where when I say it in a video, in a coaching session, in any way, shape, or form, it's to the point where you're like, oh my God, she understands me. She gets me. And I want to buy from her. So how do you do that, right? How do you do that when you're not actually in that person's shoes? This is what you do. You go on online forums and you literally copy and paste the same things that they say into a Word doc. So I did this a few years ago. My research ended up being 10 pages long when you print it out. And what I basically did was I went on forums like BiggerPockets. Basically, where does the person hang out? Real estate investors, they hang out on biggerpockets.com in the forums. And then I searched the words bookkeeping in the search bar. And then I also searched the words accounting in the search bar. And I read through every single forum post on the website. And anytime anyone mentioned anything about accounting or bookkeeping, I copied and pasted the exact words that people were using, whole sentences describing their problem, into a Word doc. And then after I compiled all of this raw data, then I grouped everything into the biggest pains, biggest complaints, biggest objectives, biggest wants, biggest beliefs. After I grouped them all, then within each section, biggest pains, I would categorize individual pains. And then I would underneath use the exact sentence that fell under the pain. Let me give you an example so that this makes more sense, because it's hard for me to explain and have you understand. For example, one of the biggest pains, the group is called not having accurate books. The exact words that people were using in the forums is, I need to have accurate books on my side or it would drive me nuts. A lack of records mean a lack of timely tax returns, and a lack of timely returns means penalties and interest to the IRS. It also makes obtaining loans difficult, tardy, and expensive. Under the subgroup pain, bookkeeping is a tedious task that takes too much time. And then the exact words people were saying is, many investors view bookkeeping as a tedious extra task that gets in the way of them analyzing new deals or managing their current ones, which certainly can be the case. So basically, put all the pains into one group, summarize the pain with your own word, and then underneath, use the exact words that you found in the forum. Let me give you an example of a complaint. Complaints could be about the complaints they have when they hire somebody. So for example, one of the complaints they have about my competition is outsourced bookkeepers do not give real estate investors access to files after ending the relationship. The exact words people were using were, lately, we are getting a lot of calls that assistants bookkeepers, after they quit working for one reason or another, they will not give access to the client. So how do you use this? This is an exact complaint that somebody had. In fact, my ex-boss had this complaint. When I was working for her and she had me do a project, there were some files that I couldn't find. And she said, oh, my ex-bookkeeper should know where those are. Well, the ex-bookkeeper would not give her access to the files. So how do you address these complaints? You basically flip it around. When you talk to potential client or even interviewer in your job search, you make the promise, I will be sure to give you access to files after I'm done with the job, to keep their mind at ease and in peace. Another example is another complaint that they have about bookkeepers, my competition, is getting ripped off from a bookkeeper or a service from a real accountant is very expensive. Exact words. I have tried Upwork a few times. It was kind of a ripoff, but I researched the most qualified person and that had amazing feedback, and they turned out to be more of a headache than they were worth. Then at the end of entering a few months of bookkeeping, they said going forward they would need to be full-time, which came out to be $800 per month, LOL. It was equivalent to hiring someone in the USA. So basically getting ripped off. I have no idea what type of real estate business you are running, but it looks like Bench.co charges $135 per month, which is a hefty price tag compared to QuickBooks. If you have only a few properties, it probably doesn't make sense to purchase this service. Hire your accountant for bookkeeping too if they provide the service, the least hassle, but the most expensive one. So basically, you gather everything. And when you walk into the interview, it's like you know them better than they know themselves. Because objections, what objections are is basically when you're in the interview or in a sales call, they have a reason for not wanting to continue. They have a reason for not wanting to hire you for the service or for the job. For example, these are the objections that people on the internet had for not hiring my competition. One is websites for real estate bookkeepers are not transparent enough. No names are shown or details. You cannot trust or endorse them. So let's see. They say they do not have the About Us page on the website. That's an easy problem to solve. That someone didn't hire somebody simply because they didn't put an About Us page on the website. I can solve this problem by having an About Us page on the website, right? In the About Us page, there is no name. Someone actually said that. In the About Us page, there is no name. You can solve this by putting your name on the website, your actual full name, so that people can research you and look you up before they hire you, right? Someone else said, when you Google their name, there is no reference to them ever doing the services you're looking for. You can solve this by making sure there are Google search results that show up when people Google you. So this is like very simplified. I'm giving you an example. Okay. Biggest ones. One of the things that I found is they want a bookkeeper who can do more than just data entry, someone who can provide good advice. This is what I found in the forums. They said, be sure to remember, managing books is not just about data entry. You always need to rely on that information for quick, reliable decisions. If you can't put your hands on decision-making answers, then the outsourcing that the folks are doing is a waste of money. Wow. So not just do you have to do the data entry for the bookkeeping, you should also be providing advice to your client on how they can do things better in their company, for example. Let's see. Another example, a bookkeeper that doesn't offer invoicing. The bookkeeper doesn't offer invoicing. That's crazy. Biggest beliefs. This is the hardest one, biggest beliefs, because people have their beliefs and you cannot change what they believe, but what you can do is you can set their mind at ease. For example, the biggest belief you have to overcome as a bookkeeper when trying to sell the service is people believe that bookkeeping is just data entry, therefore it is easy. Exact words that they were saying is bookkeeping is not highly technical nor specialized. In fact, it's more akin to data entry. So you should not pay equivalent rates like you would to a CPA, attorney, or another professional with deep technical expertise. You have to remember that bookkeeping is relatively easy. So it's not just the bookkeeping you're paying for a business advisor who will help you systemize your process, make financial decisions, and take your business to the next level. So I have mentioned this millions of times. You get what you pay for. Saying it like it's not true. You need to have checks and balances. You know. So yeah, what I can do for you is if you want to take a look at my work on the Know Your Customer, I can upload this to my website, and I'm going to pin a comment below so that you can download the exact file. So you can use this as an example to inspire you on how you can do your research to know your customer or know your interviewer to the point where you can read their mind before they even speak. This has helped me tremendously. This is basically what helped me land a job in 5 days because I understand the employer much more than the employer understands himself. It's because I go into the interview, I don't talk about how smart I am. Instead, I talk about all the things that they could potentially be struggling with in their accounting department. Basically all of the things that I found on the internet that they complain about. I try to fish it out. I fish out exactly what are they struggling with, what complaints did they have about the other person, and I have already pre-prepared the things that I'm going to say so that I can set their mind at ease, knowing that, you know, I can do the job, I can do it well, and they can trust me, they can hire me to do the job, basically. So 80% of the work comes from this, guys. It is not from making sure you have the right credential, the right certification, the degree. People put a lot of emphasis on having the right formal qualifications, but what really gave me an edge is I understood the interviewer more than he understood himself. So I will put this up on my website. I will pin it in the comments, a link to download this file to inspire you on how you can do this yourself. One last thing is, of course, I'm being censored and shadow banned on YouTube because I'm going to be talking about things I really shouldn't be. And as we have seen during the pandemic, a lot of information got censored and a lot of people got kicked off platforms for having alternative opinions. So I would really appreciate it if you could stay in touch with me, not just through subscribing and, watching the video once you see a new video is out, but please actually have me in your phone book so that one day when I'm not able to be contacted through social media, you will have access to me still. My phone number is 806-544-2929. Again, my phone number is 806-544-2929. Download the Signal app, add my number in Signal, text me. If you want, you can even call me. I had a fan call me on my birthday. It was a really nice surprise. I really enjoyed the conversation. So yeah, I'm open to phone calls as well. And any questions you guys have, be sure to ask away, because I'm basically working from where you are. There's a lot of things that I want to teach, but I've come to realize maybe some of the things I'm teaching could be a little bit too advanced. So I'm going to slowly take you there. Like, for example, Allison had a mind-blowing moment that, oh my gosh, maybe my competition isn't as good as I thought they were. So now that she's had this mind shift, this paradigm shift surrounding her beliefs, the next step is basically to show her that it's possible to also land clients. Even though it's difficult, it's possible, right? So I'm going to walk you guys slowly through it, but I need your feedback. I need to know where you guys stand. What are you struggling with? Like, for example, now that I've taught you this, what are you struggling with now after you know this? And then I can move on to the next lesson. That's basically the best way to teach, is to teach from where you are, not where I want you to be, okay? That's it for now, and I will see you guys tomorrow.